Thank you, everybody. Last session of the day, I think so. And good to have a full house for the first three rows. But thank you very much for making it. And really, it's been an honor to be a moderator for this League of Superstars, I think so, where we have pretty much every large company in the world on the stage. But India is, as you would know, India is the largest consumer of energy products. We are about 65% of our population, Indian population, is below 35. So definitely it's a big talent pool. Apart from that, energy has been a very big focus for the Indian government. Obviously, we all see IEW being so successful over the years and going bigger by the year. So it would be a very interesting session while we have only 40 minutes, and I hope we had more time to listen largely around talent, energy transition, culture, and how are GCCs, and we have Ayush also here from a public sector perspective. How is that impacting? And so, without taking more time, I'll come to Akshay. And Akshay, I think Engine has been one of the fastest setup GCCs that I have seen, and I have been doing that for about last 10 years. How would you see AI and the talent that you have in India? How does that help you in prioritizing the GCC talent, developing through internal academics, external partnerships? I've seen, I think you've grown the Engine Center to such a large and doing such critical engineering work. So if you could just talk about how is one is AI and then maybe talent and then the partnerships around that.
Thank you, Manu, for.
I think.
Well, thank you, Manu, for having us here. And thank you all for being here this evening. We are the last panel of the day, and I hope we can do justice to everyone's time here. But let me just talk a little bit about the Engine. Engine is an acronym that stands for Engineering and Innovation Excellence Center. And it's Chevron's Global Capability Center that we established in September of 2024. So we're about 15 to 16 months old, and we established in Bengaluru. And it's a state-of-the-art technology hub to support Chevron's global operations and projects. And when we talk about ramp up, you said that we are one of the fastest growing GCCs. Well, thanks for the compliment. I feel that while headcount is somewhat relevant, what is more relevant is in today's day and age of automation and AI, what type of workflows are being performed and how they're changing business outcomes. And I'm delighted that in the short span of 15 to 17 months, we've been able to do work that is meaningful, impactful, and cutting edge, and impacting Chevron's bottom line across multiple functions, multiple geographies. So to me, that is the bigger, bolder story than just headcount. But yes, the Engine has all core disciplines represented. We are hiring across all disciplines: mechanical, chemical, civil, structural engineers, petroleum engineers, geology, geophysics majors, underpinned with a strong foundation in AI and automation. And we believe that the talent is very strong. I'm very pleased with the talent that we have hired here in India across these disciplines. And it's not just the experienced hires, the college hires that we have got, they have not just the skills and capabilities that we need, but they bring a lot of energy to the workforce. You talked about AI and machine learning. Yes, so that's a foundational part of what we do. So every workflow that we tackle at the Engine, we first look at it from an AI and automation lens, and then we see how it can scale. And it's not just about doing work at our capability center, it's how do we centralize, standardize, and simplify how work gets done. How do we do it much better? So we're delighted with the progress that we have made, and we look forward to growing the ecosystem, growing the knowledge base here in India.
Great, thank you. I'll come back to you, I think, on the energy transition, I want to ask a question. But before that, I'll jump to Shuchi. Shuchi, on Exxon has been here for a very long time, and Shuchi, you're the head of strategy, and you're the very right person to answer. On when Exxon set up, I think it was 2012, 13. That's where we were there. You've been here from this group, from the GCC or the Big Daddy, right? Oldest. So on the, how have you seen the talent pool drive the global business goals? Because now you are a mature GCC, you know, you've been through down ups and downs, you've seen pretty much how energy landscape has changed and how you're changing the talent on part. So how do you make the strategy and how does strategy help on that part?
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Manu, for the question, and it's great to be here. I think our mantra right from the beginning has been integration and scale. Okay. That is our global differentiator. And we have been trying, yesterday we heard from our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji about scaling with India. Okay. And that's what we have been trying to do, to really bring the talented workforce that Akshay mentioned. But mostly, how do we integrate that talented workforce all across our business lines and capability organizations to really unleash the potential, right? And as you know, scale by itself is not given by numbers. Just being big doesn't give you the advantage of scale. So the integration, assimilation, upskilling, that part is absolutely critical. And what we have found, especially, is that we are bringing the entire corporation together. In fact, outside Houston, this is the very first country in India, our GCC, which has a representation of every function and every capability, be it a business line or a value chain or a capability that is represented. And one of the ways we are unleashing the potential of the integration and scale are via very intentional and robust upskilling, right? So we are bringing in people from all quarters, technical upskilling through industrial training programs that our graduates really like, giving them real-world experience to assets in partnership with public and private partners. Some of you may be here today on that. Also growing the next-gen leaders from our GCCs here, giving them global leadership exposure, bringing in a consistent leadership expectation all across. And finally, you touched upon culture. And we do say culture eats strategy for breakfast, etc. But I feel that we have been super intentional in our commitment in creating a culture curriculum. So we actually onboard every new joiner through a one full day culture curriculum. Our country chair, executive leaderships have been super committed towards that. So I think bringing all of this together, it's what integrates and help us scale better.
Yeah, great. I've seen culture playing a very, very big part, and pretty much culture. Whenever I visit a global Exxon office or I visit India, you can't make out.
Yeah. Exactly.
And the culture definitely is there in the individuals. Taking culture, Ayush, one part obviously want to on GAIL, and I've been working with public sectors for the last 20 years. Love the culture. When I speak to a GAIL person who has been with GAIL for 20, 30 years, he can talk GAIL, he can talk and know about that. So how do you, being the director HR at GAIL, how do you inculcate the culture part? And was it culture training part of it, or how do you inculcate culture? Because that also helps the talent to stay and be proud of the Maharatna.
See, there are two parts in terms of when we say culture building. What we have tried to do is align our culture to the core values that organization keeps it close to the heart. And we have given a very nice acronym also recently, that is CRUISE. And that also takes care of the culture part. When we say CRUISE, C is the customer first, and then R is respect to customers, respect to our internal stakeholders, external stakeholders. U is uphold the integrity, in terms of integrity and ethics that every employee should imbibe and live it up to it. I is innovation and technology, because in today's world, fast in transition, if we are not able to innovate every day, we will not lose the race. S is the safety culture, which is very paramount for being in oil and gas industry. And stands for excellence. That is for every job we do in our everyday life and every role which we perform, we must excel. We must be the best in the industry. That is the benchmark we have to set. Every employee has to set for themselves. So we try to live these values in our day-to-day life. We try to reinforce these values at every forums, be it the leadership talks or to the first day an employee joins. These values are shared and we try to keep it up to. And the leadership exhibits that by role modeling these values in their day-to-day work. So that is where we drive culture, and that helps the employees to stay along with the company.
Right. I think one learning from public sectors I have learned, and I think that goes with the super majors we're sitting here, is the length that an employee spends and the longevity employees have. Right. So you have any ways you can keep the talent motivated? Money is not the answer, I would say.
No, definitely.
Because yeah, that's what I have seen. Maybe one can be a motivator. Apart from that,
see, being public sector, money is fixed. Everyone knows how much they will make it. So that can't be a motivator for us to keep them strong. But that is two things I would like to highlight. There are multiple things, but then two things which we believe very much in, which helps us to keep them motivated, is one, apart from employee, if from day one if you can engage their family members.
okay.
Because employee, we do a lot for employees, be it the training, be it the sports, be it the activities, whatever you say, employee engagement. In the name of employee engagement, lot of activities are done. But on the family front, many a times we miss out that family is an important part of the whole organization. They are half the employee. If they are not there, the employee will not be able to work as efficiently as they are. So from day one, when an employee joins in GAIL, one offer letter goes to the employee, another letter goes to their parents, congratulating them for their son or daughter joining GAIL. So that is one part. And then this journey continues at different forums. Activities planned for the family members of the employees also. Now, lot of youngsters are joining, and what problem which we are facing, and I am sure each organization must be facing, is that now both husband and wife are professionally qualified and they want to pursue their own careers, but at remote places, there are not enough opportunities for the spouses. So they will have to stay apart, 1,000 kilometers apart, pursuing their own careers. And if they come to townships, not enough opportunities being them, and they are feeling stuck to their roles or for family household works. So there, one key initiative that we started 2 years back, and which has been proven very successful, is that we started an entrepreneurship development program for the spouses of the employees, where we trained the spouses of the employees for 1 long year in terms of setting up their own ventures from the places where they were posted, so that the barrier for the location was taken away, that being in a remote location is a barrier for a spouse not to be able to pursue their own careers. And at the end of the first year, we started with an expectation of that 5, even if 5 ventures are started, we'll be happy. I am happy to share at the end of first year, 45 entrepreneurship ventures could be started from the spouses of the employee. And we are running the program now in the second year, and we have more than 50 more ventures. So in a period of 2 years, 100 women-led startups being started who had no background, no knowledge, or not even an idea what they would like to do. Most of the startups, the support system starts when they have an idea, they have done a prototype. This was from a scratch of making them motivate to generate an idea and then work upon and then start. Many of them are now registered, licensed. If there is somebody in food business having a FSSAI license, GST registrations, company websites are there, social media accounts are there, and they are earning revenues. I would not say they are making lakhs, but then they are happy, they are professionally engaged. So that is something which keeps the employees motivated if you are able to take care of their family part. And second, in terms of, apart from money, giving the employees enough opportunities in terms of, see, one thing which all the youngsters are required or ambitious about is learning new technologies and getting the opportunity to learn and challenges to go at the workplace. So again, another initiative which I would like to highlight is what we started 6 months back is in terms of giving all 5,000 employees of GAIL training on AI, irrespective of their level, whether they are executive, non-executive level, all employees getting the same training at the same level on AI, and bringing an ambition part of it that from 5,000 will select 750, from 750 to 500 to 250 and 50 in a period of year. So 50 will have a international level of training certified AI champions in a matter of 1 year. So that's another a challenge is also inbuilt in terms of what they are getting. So I think I just wanted to highlight these two things
That's
apart
wonderful.
from many other
Very,
things.
very inspiring. Very inspiring. Thank you very much. Molly, coming to you on BP. Obviously, you've been here for now a reasonably long time. I think since 22, been 3 years. Apart from the capabilities that you already had, and you moved a lot of work here, what new capability areas does BP expect to build in BTC so it can contribute back to the organization?
Yeah. So I think, so first of all, I want to say thanks. I mean, it's been a pleasure to be on a panel like this, sort of very esteemed panel. But I think when we really look at BP, BP has, very strong foundation in terms of the way we work across all our, upstream, downstream. We partner in India to, provide oil and gas into India. And at the same time, so all of those foundations, I think capabilities, we know it's strong here, and we basically have a lot of those workflow processes and everything. I think, in terms of the direction that the world is going in, one of the big things is not so much kind of the direct engineering or upstream type capability, but it's really marrying that capability with the digital, with sort of that continuous learning, of things like AI skills, digital skills, and again, just about making work more efficiently. And then sort of taking it the other side. So we always talk about sort of AI and everything, but it's how do we also take, what I would say sort of the programmers, the digital skills, how do we sort of build knowledge across both ways. Okay, so how do we take people who have digital skills and really help them understand kind of the oil and gas business as an example, or the retails business, the lubricants business. And it's the same way as an engineer, how do we also learn those skills? Because it's the beauty of that combined knowledge that really gives us the best business outcomes. So I would say it really is not necessarily new capabilities, but it's really looking across what the strength of the Indian market brings, right? So I think the Indian market has the components of all of those elements. And so if you can really sort of bring it strongly together, and that's the opportunity of what we want to do, and then we can take that and sort of drive it sort of much more strongly across into all our sort of global operations wherever we operate. So I wouldn't say it's new. It's sort of taking what strongly exists here today and really sort of driving it and percolating it back into sort of our full global operations.
Great. Thank you. Just holding your thought on that, I think coming to Ajay. Ajay, on the talent part, you've been here for a very long time. While individually you came 4 years back, but the R&D part it has been here for a long time. How has STCB seen and Shell STCB seen the talent landscape change over the last 10 years? Is it easier to get more talented people now?
Yeah, thank you for your question. Yeah, indeed, we have been here for over 2 decades now. Parts of our organization, actually, starting with the information and digital technology, were here even earlier, almost 25 years ago. And as kind of one of the longest standing GCCs with almost 13,000 employees now in the country, is a testament to kind of how these groups have evolved over time. And sometimes it has meant kind of, also learning lessons the hard way, figuring out what actually works within the Indian ecosystem, where are some of the gaps, where do we want to kind of, upscale, upgrade some of those capabilities. And STCB in particular is kind of an excellent case study. in that, because when we came in here and to start the Shell Technology Center, the ambition was kind of clearly, it's a talent play. This is kind of where we have access to deep technical talent, and if you can offer people a value proposition where it doesn't matter if they are working in the Shell Center in Houston or in Amsterdam or in Bangalore, that's what attracts people to come. And so it was very much kind of a talent play in certain areas of our work. Largely, it started off with the computational and subsurface part of the story, and increasingly we kind of started expanding those capabilities to a point where we now have a world-class research center. So, when I think about what we have at STCB, I think of it as a first among equals. Perhaps the one pivot that we have had to make to your very specific question on the journey of talent wants to be in a place, where they feel they belong. They want to be in a place where they believe that there is a belief system in the work that they do, and that there is an opportunity to see those ideas all the way through completion. It is exciting to kind of work on novel technologies and the like, but if you don't really see a line of sight to how is this actually going to create the value, how does this actually get implemented, is there enough support from the business, or is this just kind of, okay, there's a bunch of very clever people doing clever things, but you don't quite translate that into kind of, action. So that's kind of been a part of our own growth and learning of how do you kind of create that kind of an ecosystem, if you please. And that's why kind of, in order to attract the top talent, you also have to invest in the local ecosystem. And so that's been kind of one of the other parts where we initially cast a pretty wide net into kind of where we wanted to play in India, where do we access the talent, who are some of our external partners. We have got a couple of very strong academic strategic partners with the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore and IIT Madras, and figuring out how you leverage these partnerships, because these are folks who are not necessarily in exclusive relationships with Shell. They are kind of much more hungry for the young students that we work with and the young entrepreneurs that we work with. They are just as eager to understand what is the use case of my technology. If I build it, will you come? And so that's been kind of part of our whole evolution in our thinking, where truly now the work that we do is kind of, I can just very unambiguously state, is world class. There cannot be any kind of challenges, whether it be in the deep domain space of AI or it be in more the physical technologies, whether it be kind of building the world's first solid oxide electrolysis cell and demonstrating that this is something that can be done from India for the world. That kind of is what really gives the excitement and the incentive to people to come, and more importantly, to stay.
Okay, that's great.
I just want to add,
Yeah, sure.
add something to what Ajay said. 3 years ago, even before we established the engine, even before we took final investment decision, I came to India, I came to Bangalore. I met with Ajay, you remember that conversation. I met with the Exxon GCC leader at that time, and I asked them, what does it take to have a successful GCC? And everything that Ajay mentioned, to have a very strong employee value proposition. I think those were very thoughtful words, and I strongly believe that that's very important. And employee value proposition goes, starts with culture. You mentioned about culture, but also, in case of global capability centers, it's how we connect the employee to business outcomes. Because, we are sitting here in India, in Bangalore, all three of us, and in Pune for BP. How do we connect them with business outcomes? So we have a deliberate focus, making sure that early on, our new employees, we connect them to business outcomes, whether it's through immersive programs, through training, on-site training, getting them familiar with their assets, or giving them experience through digital twins, so that, sitting in the office, they actually can walk into a facility anywhere in the world. So we have to be very deliberate in ensuring that the value proposition remains strong along with the culture. And that's one of the strong reasons why we have strong retention and employees who work very long in companies like ours. Now, I've completed 27 years. It'll be 28 years in June, and culture and the employee value proposition plays a big role in employees that want to come to work every day, be motivated and energized.
Great. Thank you. And I was just about to come to you, Dubey. Just extending that point on the energy transition being a very big point, and how is your GCC maybe now or later contributing to the transition for Chevron?
Well, if you look at Chevron's enterprise strategy, is very clear what we intend to do. It's been a corporate strategy that has stood the test of time, and it's to leverage our strengths to safely deliver lower carbon energy to a growing world. If you parse that, we want to leverage strengths that we've had. We are a 147-year-old company, and we do certain things well. We differentiate ourselves in a few key areas. And those are the areas where we are building capability, we're building capacity across our conventional business as well as in our new energy and lower carbon business. So, fundamentally, we believe the future is lower carbon. We believe that the future will have multiple diverse sources of energy, and for the affordable and reliable energy that is needed today, we do need to focus on reducing the carbon footprint of our current operations, and that's a big focus of the work that we do across the enterprise, including here in India, and how do we make those operations reliable and safer so that we can reduce the carbon footprint. And at the same time, we continue to look at how we can grow new lower carbon energy businesses, whether it's in carbon capture and sequestration. We support some of our assets where we produce natural gas and we separate the natural gas and we inject the CO2 back in the ground. So a lot of that work is pretty complicated, it's complex, and those are the type of tough problems that we tackle across the world, including here in India. So as I said, we are looking to reduce the carbon footprint of our own operations, and we are building capacity and capability to evaluate the lower carbon energy system of the future.
Thank you. Ashuji, for you, one is on the, if you can just very briefly, short of time, briefly touch upon, are you training your people on the energy transition goals? That's one. And secondly, what will help you go further on the value chain? What do you look for in the future on Exxon? How do you?
Absolutely. Completely building on Akshay's point of energy security while building a lower carbon footprint. Definitely our Bangalore colleagues and researchers are helping here using advanced technologies like AI to monitor and control GHG emissions from our own operations. In fact, our engineers here look after 60 plus assets, all of our assets all around the world globally, while scouting for techno-economic evaluations for CCS opportunities all around the world. We also have an R&D center here which test and formulate recyclable plastics. For example, the Mobil 1 buckets, the 20-liter buckets that you see here, that's actually a product of that very center led out of Bangalore, which is based on 50% recyclable plastic. So we are essentially going from lab to market by the GCC or by the ecosystem we are building here, right? Coming to the second point on your value chain, we talked about how we are investing in India. We are also making in India, and we are very proud to have our global projects capability, one that is reputed really globally for its schedule adherence, budget adherence, discipline, and performance. We are having that capability being laid out of Bangalore as well to really make in India for the entire world, energy equipments manufacturing for the entire world. Very proud of that in terms of moving up the value chain, not only in terms of supporting our assets, but making in India, innovating in India, as I mentioned about the R&D, while we are scaling with India.
Thank you very much, Ruchi. Quickly, I think on GAIL, if you could just, Ayush ji, if you could just make a point on the energy transition, because gas itself is a carbon neutral product and contributes to that. Any specific action that you're taking on energy transition?
See, on the energy transition front, as rightly mentioned by you, currently in India, natural gas itself is playing the role of a transition fuel till we are able to entirely switch over to renewables. But then, at the same time, while we are still expanding the usage of natural gas and trying to increase the percentage of natural gas in Indian energy basket from 6 to 15%, that is the potential it holds. But at the same time, at GAIL, we are also expanding our footprint or network in terms of having more solar energy parks and solar power plants, also in terms of winds. And within our own processes, we have an ambitious goal of net zero, which we have advanced to 2035 for scope 1 and scope 2. I think on that front also multiple projects have been taken up by GAIL in terms of switching over from a gas driven turbines to electric driven turbines that are powered by renewable power. So multiple projects being done and clearly progressing ahead in an aggressive manner towards making contribution to a renewable portfolio and enhancing that.
Thank you very much, Ayush. Molly, if on GCCs contributing to the global vision of BP, why transition is one of the visions. How is GCC giving back to the world on to BP within and maybe contributing to the transformation and growing talent within that? Are you looking at growing? I need to have energy transformation talent specifically built in GCC, which would help the world or BP globally.
No, so I think definitely. So we do see in terms of transformation and as its contribution to things like within the the energy transition as an example, really a lot of it is building more efficiency in what we are doing as an organization, right? And so I think what the GCC is helping us to do is really take what we do across, different parts of BP. So when you really look at, we operate in, 13 different countries, as an example, in the upstream. We have oil, gas, we have refining, across multiple sectors, different ages we've acquired, different companies have merged over the years. And so I think what the beauty of what the GCC is doing now is sort of actually taking that understanding of what we do globally across, because we are supporting the global operations. And we are able to sort of really then bring together what's the best of each part of it, right? We are able to sort of then combine that with basically our digital organization. So, bringing in things like AI, where do we, actually mention standardizing and sort of really scaling up and bringing in those digital solutions. But it also then means we could identify the right technologies that will help us as a business. So what is that latest seismic technology that's really going to drive efficiency? So, quite often when we always talk about the energy transition, we forget about the efficiency. So it's not just about kind of going into the renewable markets and everything, but it's taking the core oil and gas businesses that we run today and making those cleaner, right? Less, less carbon intensive, etc. So I think there's a lot of that opportunity that you get within sort of the GCC context. And just sort of add quickly, our GCC is our business. There is no differentiation. So these are people who are part of the team every day. There is no other engineer, right? So they are able to sort of take the understanding and learning from their other peers who are running other parts of the business and then translate that back into, okay, I have maybe a similar problem in my business, or we haven't actually tried something like that yet, and really sort of introduce it more broadly. So I think that's what we see from a GCC perspective as really driving a lot of transformation. It's really about being able to scale up really the best of BP in all ways.
Right, and I've seen that GCC has an advantage, especially where you have different geographies sitting together. Correct. So you can exchange a lot of work.
Exactly.
Lastly, coming to you, Ajay, how does AI play a role? Do you, because you've been there, especially R&D. Yeah, I'm sure using AI on energy transition and then the talent using AI and giving it back to Shell globally. Are you driving any initiative using AI on energy transition?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Pretty much you can think of applications in every part of the energy spectrum. There are use cases, in the conventional side of the business, use cases in kind of the renewables portfolio, the new energies portfolio. I think I'd answer your question by kind of just saying that one does not need to be afraid of AI. You need to kind of, because oftentimes with staff also you have the inevitable questions around, is AI going to replace staff? Well, the reality is that it is not going to replace staff. It's going to enable you to expand your capabilities to do higher value work. So the people who will be successful in this endeavor are the ones who will equip themselves with the tools, knowledge, and capability to use it with intent and with purpose. So that's kind of the mantra that we've been trying to drive into kind of, staff to kind of think about this as your friend, not as a threat. Because that's when you'll really be able to figure out what are those specific use cases and whatever that area might be, whether it be in customer engagement and how are you going to, quickly qualify a number of potential prospects, or it be kind of, some deep domain expertise in materials discovery. Whatever your end use case might be, use it with purpose and with intent. And I think that's kind of the way in which I think some of that stress will be alleviated. But I think that it's a given that this is going to be a huge enabler for the energy transition across the board. The pace at which the energy transition is going to unfold is anybody's guess. What areas is one going to have to bank on and not bank on is anybody's guess. I think right now we are at a state where you have to bet on all of the above, knowing that the conventional business is going to be with us for decades. How do you kind of monetize every molecule that you're producing better using some of the tools at your disposal that you did not have 10 years ago to do that more efficiently while anticipating the future? So that's how we think about this one.
That's great. Although we are well over time, just any last thoughts on future of GCC, maybe starting with Akshay, 10 seconds.
Well, we've ramped up the engine to a point that it's become an integral part of the Chevron enterprise, providing the speed, the agility, high quality work, and changing business outcomes, supporting our business units around the world. We're delighted to be part of that ecosystem here in India.
Thank you, Akshay. Suchi?
I think I just mentioned two things. One is don't leave things to chance. Be super intentional and deliberate as we are marching this GCC growth journey in terms of integration and scale. And the last thing is developing an owner's mindset, right? So we are not renters here. We have to own the end-to-end value chain and really own the decisions, really own the business right from here. That will be the next phase of growth of GCC.
Great, thank you. Ayush?
Yeah, two things. One, I firmly believe that what Ajay ji also said, with GCCs, the AI is going to take GCCs to the next level of competence and capabilities for all the organizations who have a GCC setup, because all functions being there, all core domains being there, and coupled with that, if we can put AI to the best of use, I think sky is the limit for GCC. Second thing, while discussing, and another thought on a lighter side, maybe not a global capability center, but GAIL capability center is going to be there.
Absolutely. Thank you. Molly?
So I think just a couple comments. So I think, I think from a GCC perspective, it is really about integration. So really kind of integrating across our business. It really is about innovation, right? Really bringing in the innovation that we can, get across into our business. It's sort of accelerating what we need to do to sort of drive the transformation, not just of BP, but basically of the energy industry. And I think, what we see from, an India perspective is that it has all of that and it has it at scale. So the, GCC really is becoming an integral part of what we do. And I just look forward to continually to sort of, drive success in that direction. So really look forward. Really strong ownership, I think, is what we just really need to see. The GCCs really become that kind of owner, strong business owner and driver for all of us.
Thank you. Ajay, last thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'd say that move forward with confidence and with belief. We need to kind of stop thinking about GCCs in terms of global low-cost capability centers, but start thinking in terms of these as global capability creators for India and for the world.
Right, thank you. That's all we had time for. I thoroughly enjoyed this session. I'm sure all of you also did. And I would like to thank all the panelists. It was learning for me and hope learning for all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.